And the purpose of today's call was to really give everyone an opportunity to learn more about what it's like to actually operate a franchise. And we have the good fortune of having, Janet Chindambo, who's on the line with us today, has been up and running for, can I say 4 months, Janet?
Nope, 3.5.
3.5. I can't say 4 months. I've been corrected. Without further ado, I will let Janet take over, and I'll be like a mouse in the background, and I'll let you tell you more about herself and just more about her franchise thus far.
Okay, thanks, Joel. I'm just going to jump in and let everybody know that we, about 3.5 months, or further back than that, probably around March or April, started to look for a franchise because my job was downsized, and I unfortunately lost my job after 8 years. So there I was. The whole time my husband had been looking for something that he could do, that we could both do. So he was looking at this. He was looking at, subways and gas stations and restaurants and that kind of thing. And I just kept putting it away. Nope, I don't want it. I don't want it. I don't want it. And he happened to leave on the computer a Be the Boss site with this Maid Simple. And it caught my eye, and I looked at it, and I looked a little bit more into it, and I thought, with what we've been through and what I know about the market, I know that there's a huge need for a maid service in our area. And we did a little bit of homework, and it wasn't really Maid Simple that we were set on, because we researched a bunch of other companies, but it was the whole maid service idea that we thought would be a great thing moving into the way that the world is going. We found that the Maid Simple offered Jim and I what we wanted, meaning the support with the marketing, the support with the way things were done. Maid Brigade, like Joel said, very successful company. They know what they're doing. They know how to do things. When we started to talk to Joel and we started to really get into what the Maid Simple model looked like, the sky's the limit. The sky's the limit with this model. One of the benefits that we had is we had the opportunity to speak with another franchisee of Maid Brigade, and it was sort of the go ahead for us was when he said, "I've been doing this for 10 years, and if I had the opportunity to do things the way that you guys are doing things and start up the way you guys get to, I would do it in a heartbeat, because your ROI is immediate, pretty much, and you don't have all the other stuff to worry about. And if you've got a guy that's been in business for 10 years doing the same thing pretty much that I want to do, and he tells me to go for it with this model, you have nothing to lose." It helped us out a lot. One of the things that I really liked about the Maid Simple was you didn't have to buy postal codes. And the other services, you had to buy postal codes. So you really narrowed your market, or you had to spend more money. Whereas with the Maid Simple, we just opened up and were able to service whomever. We didn't have to, because one of the other franchises, we had to buy postal code FFAs, or zip codes or postal codes, and if we received a call outside of that postal code, you would had to pay a premium on your royalties for that, even though there was nobody else servicing it. So that was pretty encouraging for us to be able to develop in our area, in our territory, the amount of business that we could, and not be narrowed by the almighty buck.
I have a question for you, though.
Yeah.
I know that you pay a royalty on all your cleans, and isn't that royalty higher than some of the other ones?
It is. However, it seems to be the biggest thing. If you think about your credit card charges, because all of your cleanings are done by credit card. So the National Sales Center is what's going to get you through this and what's going to make you be able to grow faster than you can even stand up. They spend the entire time doing the sale, the follow-up sale. They collect all of your payment information. They even schedule the client for you. It's all locked and loaded and sent to you, and the time is there. You're done. So your cash flow is much better because there's no receivables, there's no payable, or there's payables. There's no receivables, there's no accounting on that end. The amount of time you're going to save in accounting, the amount of time you're going to save having to have somebody actually sit at the phone to answer these phone calls, the amount of time that you're going to save on scheduling, the amount of time that you're going to save on collecting, because if you're depending on somebody to leave you a check or leave you cash, it doesn't always happen. And then you've got to chase after them. With the credit card charges the next day. It's the quickest way of getting paid.
Mm-hmm.
So with that credit card opportunity comes credit card charges, usually 3 to 5%. So right off the top, off your top line, off your royalty, take 3 to 5% off of that because you would have to pay that on your own. And then somebody part-time to full-time just to sit at a table and answer phones, $25,000, $30,000 to pay somebody to do that, because nobody wants to do business with somebody on a cell phone. Not when you're inviting somebody into your home and trusting them with your home. If you're on a cell phone that's dropping calls and whatnot, and you yourself, if you want to grow the business, you can't be out there if you're sitting in front of this landline waiting to answer the calls.
Dan, I have a question for you. Would you know what the average revenue is from each of your 40 customers, what your average sale is?
The average charge?
Yes, the average dollar amount from each customer.
It's about $100 is about the average.
About $100 a month?
No, $100 a visit. So sometimes they have 4 visits a month. Sometimes they have 2 visits a month.
Okay.
So if they're a regular client, the typical regular client is every 2 weeks. And I'm working right now off a 43% margin.
Okay. And have you been able to secure any customers on your own?
Oh, for sure. Yes.
And how did you go about doing that, if you don't mind me asking?
There's so many different ways. Word of mouth. We made letters and business cards and mailed them out to all of our friends and family. This is what we're doing. This is what we've done. We've bought a franchise. Give us referrals. Be our ambassadors. And we got a lot of business that way. I go out to community centers, grocery stores. Anybody's a customer, really.
Right.
Anybody
Okay.
you talk to. The repeats come off of once somebody books one time, it's so easy to flip them into regular. And the reason it's so easy is because if you don't like the hard sell, if that's the one thing that's holding you back on the marketing end is the hard sell in that awkward moment of this is how much it's going to cost, the National Sales Center does that for you.
Okay. And, Jen, if you don't mind me asking, how competitive are your rates for your market?
We are not the least expensive, but we're not by far the most expensive. We sit at the lower end of the middle.
Okay.
Yeah, we that's one of the. I don't know if anybody's wanted to Google my webpage. One of my least favorite things of when the franchise first opened and they said, "Here's your website," and they sent it to me. I thought, "What? This is kind of hokey." Like it didn't. I didn't like it at all. But what I do know is it works, and
right.
I ate my words as soon as I said them with the hits on the web page and the clients that we got through the web page. So the idea was let's not come out with all the bells and whistles, because we're the Kia of the cars, right?
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So we have a good vehicle. It's reliable. It gets you where you want to go. Looks good.
Okay, that's great. I appreciate all the information, Jenna.
Yeah, no problem. There was somebody else
Yeah, that's me. Chana, can you, when you do the franchise business, right? I know most of the franchise business, you have to pay the commission every month. Do you have to pay that?
The royalty, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, the way that your payment goes is head office, Maid Simple Atlanta collects all your credit cards and does all of the billing for you.
Okay.
And then every 2 weeks they send you your disbursement of what they owe you. So they send you all of your top line sales. They send you all of the taxes that they've collected.
Okay.
And from that they take off their percentage of the royalty.
Mhm.
And deposit the difference into your bank account.
Oh, okay.
So so that comes every 2 weeks. So your cash flow is 2 weeks.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
How many reoccurring customers do you have so far?
How many reoccurring?
I guess how many customers are you serving on like
A regular basis?
Yeah.
I have between 20 and 25. I have a call every couple of weeks with Whitney and Rachel at head office. Rachel is in charge of operations and Whitney is in charge of marketing. And we have a phone call every couple of weeks that we just go over everything. And I have just today secured my 140th new client. My particular franchise runs a little bit different than the actual model. I like to say I'm like the butcher that, or like the vegetarian that bought a butcher shop. I hate to clean. I hate cleaning so much. And I own a cleaning business. So I knew right from the get-go I was not cleaning. We hired employees from 3 days before the franchise opened. We had our employees lined up and ready to go. So even with employees, we turn a profit on every hour serviced.
And I have one more question. Since you are not bounded by a territory and you paid the franchise fee to have them market for you for 1 year, are they just marketing everywhere? Or
no.
What is?
When we've been doing the marketing, it's been very targeted. We've done, targeted postal drops and, looked at the FSAs. We're not just blanketing everybody. We're making sure everybody's in the right, demographic. And
another question. I know they're doing the marketing for you for the first year. What do you expect to do for the second year?
See, that's the benefit. That's the bonus. And I don't remember who I was talking to the other day, but I was talking to somebody and I said, what a way to be able to get into a business and use somebody else's cash to see what works. I know that sounds really selfish, but it's a benefit. So we come up with these ideas and we go to Whitney and we say, this is what we want to do. We think this is a really good idea. And it gets done. And if it works, then we'll jot it down to make sure that we can recreate it next year and budget for it next year. But if it doesn't work, then it's not out of my pocket. One of the when we were talking about the difference in the royalty rates was there is a portion of your royalties that go to a national ad fund.
Right.
So that national ad fund in the U.S. and Canada, it's going to continue with branding and so on and so forth.
Diana, hi, this is Joanna. As far as the call center, because I'm trying to kind of picture this. I know the call center is amazing because they do take over and they do take a lot of the headaches away of it, answering the calls and scheduling and sort of selling on the phone as well as a number of other things. My question is, I know on your website you have a phone number. Are you at any point actually directly reachable by the customer? So can the customer actually directly call you if they wanted to, whatever it is, if they needed to speak with you directly, or will they always have to go to the call center?
No. It's actually a preference of the call center that once the initial contact's made, the booking is done, that they call my cell phone.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, so it's just the initial call that's done through the call center, but then after that, you pretty much, once you go and whether it's doing an estimate or whether it's going to see customer, you give them your business card with your own personal cell phone on it.
Yeah, it has both numbers on it.
Okay.
It has both numbers on it. The call center is really it's to me it's priceless. I don't believe that anybody could grow as quickly without somebody answering the phone. The call center does anything you want them to do, really. Web inquiries that come in, you know that first response on the web inquiry is the one that's going to get it. Well, those web inquiries go to them, and they can be copied to you, but they go to them, and you have professional salespeople getting on that right away. Nothing falls off the wagon. They follow up with the prospect, but then they also flag it and continue to follow up with that person, whether it be sending them back an email, and then they talk to the client. The client says, call me back in 3 days. They then call back in 3 days, and the other thing about the call center is they have access to my phone, my cell phone. So if they've got a client on the phone that they don't know the answer to, they call me on my cell phone to get that answer right away. But they still have the client on the phone, and they can also transfer the client to my cell phone if the client wants to talk to me directly.
Okay.
We ran into a little snag the other day where a maid's car broke down. And I was out in the field and driving, and I didn't have the phone number of the client. I just called the call center. They called the client and rebooked it.
Okay.
And it was done right away. So you've got that at your fingertips and that resource that you don't have to run around with everybody's phone number, and you've got 9 people at the call center at your disposal to be able to do that for you.
Okay.
That call center is what is it's gonna save you and help you to grow in the beginning.
Okay. I have another question, which is totally unrelated actually to the call center itself, but more so to you with the training. So, I mean, once you sort of got the green light from and you were set on Maid Simple, and you had to go through it's a couple-day training, correct?
Yeah.
What does that look like? I mean, because I'm trying to imagine what training means in every sense of the word, as far as what do you get trained on? Because ultimately, as you said, all the hassle is pretty much taken out of the equation by having a call center, by having the advertising done for you. So I'm just curious as to what is the training involved.
Right. So just before the training, one of the things that I wanted to talk about, one of the reasons that Maid Simple seemed to be a good match for us, was we, being in business for a number of years with the corporate franchise balance, we had new franchisees come in my previous life, and it was all of the whining and dining and all the fancy stuff that you could come out with. We left nothing unturned to impress these people. When I went to Atlanta, when Jim and I went to Atlanta to go, I felt very confident because nobody was trying to impress me, but rather I felt like I was at a job interview. And I felt like I had to prove myself before they would say, yes, I'll let you buy this. So to me, that gave me confidence to know that not just anybody's going to get a franchise. And just, anybody who pays the money is going to get a franchise. And that's what impressed me about going to Atlanta and going through the process with them and really sitting down and being asked questions and really getting in depth into what we wanted and what we saw as success, and to make sure that it matched them. So when Rachel and another franchisor, Dave, the two of them came to our house and stayed with us for 2 days and went over everything with us. Now, what does training entail? It really, if you were to go out right now and go to a house and try to sell what you've got or set up the service or train your maids to do it, you couldn't do it because do you really know what you're doing? And that's what they're teaching you. They're going through step by step. This is a mop. Well, everybody knows what a mop is, but in order to use it the right way, you've got to be shown. And Rachel and Dave actually cleaned my house to show me how to use all of the tools and use all of the systems so that I could train other people and I could do it myself. And it sounds like it wouldn't be 2 days, but it was 2 days chock full of information.
You said you were operating on a 43% profit margin?
Yep.
That's a pretty big profit margin.
Isn't it wonderful?
I guess I want to ask how.
Your overhead? You have no overhead. What's your overhead? Your 2% on your supplies, your royalty, and your wages. My past life, I was thrilled to get a 25% margin.
Mm-hmm.
So we checked this and double checked this and triple checked this and tried to figure it out, and you know, it is what it is. I don't know what else to say. One of the things that I've asked Joel in the beginning, my husband asked Joel, everybody, what's the catch? I haven't seen it yet. I haven't seen the catch. I don't believe there is a catch. I don't believe that anything that has been told to you, if it was the same as what's told to me, there's no surprises.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty confident in what we got ourselves into.
Hi, Gina.
Yeah?
Hi, this is Michelle Elias from North Carolina. I've spoken to you by email. I did have a couple of questions for you real quick, though. Do your employees pay their own fuel and insurance for their vehicles?
Yes. Yes, they do. Because we have our employees only work part-time.
Right.
So nobody in the world ever gets paid to go to work or come home from work. So they get paid for everything in between. Because they're part-time, we don't have to pay them any kind of expenses. Because they use their vehicles for work, they can deal with that on the income tax level.
Okay. And what percentage of the sale do you pay your employees? Is it like hourly, or they just take a portion?
We pay them hourly. We pay our employees hourly. If we were to pay them a portion or a commission on the sale, they then become independent contractors, and then I don't really have any control over what they're doing.
Okay. Well, do you know, what does it work out to be, like hourly?
We pay our employees $11 an hour.
And how much are you budgeting for next year's marketing?
With what's been happening with our business and what's been happening with the Maid Brigade history, we'll probably put away about 5%. But most of your business comes from internet.
Right. And then how often, how many times do you get to do you actually see each client? So say you have a regular customer who does the cleaning by monthly. And do you try and go out every cleaning to see them? Do you try and go out once a month? Or do you try and go out once every, I know it's only been 3.5 months, but do you try and go out, I know you're obligated to see them at a number of times during the year, but
I kind of gauge it off the client.
Okay.
Because the client's pretty clear on get out of my face.
Okay.
You know, you can over service them, and that gets pretty frustrating as well. And so we try to drop them a phone call or an email or something around the time of their cleaning. But you know, when they stop responding, that you don't need to send those anymore.
Okay.
All right.
This is great. Well, thank you very, very much.
If anybody else has anything they wanted to ask, you can email me or Joel can put out or Bob can put out my cell phone number.
All right. Thank you very much, everybody, for participation. I really appreciate it. And thank you again, Jana.